everybody, welcome to the FN Studios. UFC 205 going down Saturday night from Madison Square Garden. Ramdeen and Black with you. Our last looks at this card, and man, oh man, one of the most anticipated cards, I think, in mixed martial arts history. You have Conor McGregor looking to do what nobody else has done in the sport, taking on Eddie Alvarez, a guy that has been the underground king. I know he said it, but really, if you're a hardcore fan of mixed martial arts, you've followed Eddie Alvarez's career, and we always knew, didn't we, that eventually if he got his crack in the UFC, that he'd be fighting for the championship, and most likely he'd be a champion there.
Yes, we knew and he knew, and I think he said it at the press conference the other day. It's like, I've always been the UFC champ, and that's kind of true to anybody who is a hardcore fan. But then this new thing comes along, and it isn't just, you know, this guy talks this way, or this guy, this is a different style of fighting. Why is Dominic Cruz winning all his fights? Because people can't really adapt to the things that he brings. McGregor's becoming one of those. The Diaz moments in the second fight and the good or the first fight and the good moments in the second fight give you some hope if you're Eddie Alvarez or an Eddie Alvarez fan like we all are. That by taking away that space eventually, by being hard-nosed enough to stay in the fight, because you get hit. You're going to get hit by McGregor, and he hits real hard. Real hard. 17 guys dropped to that left hand. There might have been a kick in there somewhere or a right hand in there somewhere, but these two knuckles of the left hand are knocking people unconscious. Eddie's strong enough, tough enough, gutsy enough to stay in it long enough to try to catch him, hurt him, or wear him down. But it's hard, man. It's a hard one. He may not be able to get to him.
You and I have had the chance, and we continue to have the chance to see mixed martial arts develop on a grassroots level and then into the professional leagues. And we're seeing fighters that are 1-0, making their professional debut. And you said you've been so impressed with all these guys that have no fight experience. Are you seeing that next movement, seeing the evolution of the sport that are trying to catch up to the Dominic Cruzes of the world?
If you go on Fight Pass and you put on, for sure, UFC 1 and 2, you're like, oh, that doesn't look at all like what's happening right now. But it isn't just that. Go and put on Randy Couture versus Chuck Liddell. It's not really the same thing at all. And you go back, you know, a few years ago to now, and even the same fighters aren't the same thing. It's just going so much further. And if you're thinking the old way, you're really screwed. Is it possible to stay in the fight long enough to do it, make it about heart and about guts and about grit and about the Sap Alvarez scale and all that? Yeah, it's possible. But that's not the way to win fights. That's not the way to have long-term winning. That I'm really, really interested to see the adaptations that Tyron Woodley has made, if any, to the idea of Wonder Boy. Because if we're just going to have one more guy after one more guy go in there and go, well, the other guy just didn't try hard enough. Let me bring these same tools to them. I'm a little faster. I'm a little tougher. Let me try my tools. It ain't working. You have to adapt. It has to be different. Will somebody catch Wonder Boy and hurt him? Sure. Could it be Woodley? Yes, it could. But he's a different thing, and you have to figure out that thing, and you have to adapt to it.
And that's why we're going to keep our eyes on the welterweight matchup between Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and of course the all-important main event between Eddie Alvarez and Conor McGregor. It headlines UFC 205 Saturday in New York City.